Madam Deputy Speaker.
Shadow Minister Preet Gill.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's a pleasure to respond to this debate on behalf of the opposition. We have heard some powerful contributions today from members on both sides of the House in favour of this bill to bring an end to the smoking epidemic and crack down on vaping companies that are preying on kids. I want to thank the honourable member for Winchester, Bromsgrove, Stockton North, Harrow East, Erewash, Bolton, Stroud and Blaydon for their moving contributions on the harms of smoking and the importance of this bill. And let me also pay thanks to my honourable friend for North Tyneside, York Central and Dulwich and West Norwood for the excellent points made about the growth in vaping. We've also heard some opposition to this bill today as well. The Right Honourable Member for Rosendale and Darwin cited the example of people openly taking Class A drugs in public without reprimand as evidence that bans don't work. I dare say he's just made more of a point about the decline in policing and local enforcement under his government rather than age of sale legislation. And to the Right Honourable Member for South West Norfolk, I simply say that if wanting to stop future generations getting addicted to products that may eventually kill them makes us the health police, then the health police we are. Madam Deputy Speaker, there is no argument for the harm that tobacco does to the people of this country every day. Smoking is the single biggest preventable cause of ill health. It leads to 80,000 deaths a year in the United Kingdom and is responsible for 1 in 4 cancer deaths and over 70% of lung cancer cases. Smokers lose an average of 10 years of life expectancy. Smoking, as we've heard today, is not a free choice. It is an addiction. Hence, raising the age of sale will help reduce pressure on the NHS by improving health and well-being. My constituent, Eric, knows this too well. He's one of thousands of constituents whose life has been put at risk by smoking. Like the vast majority of smokers, Eric began smoking when he was a child, at age 14. It wasn't until his 50s that Eric was able to give up cold turkey at the request of his daughter, who urged him to do so on behalf of his newborn grandson. Eric has suffered a heart attack and stroke and lives with hypertension, high cholesterol and COPD. As he says, COPD is an incurable mortal disease. It makes getting around harder and harder for me. And the experience of people like Eric is why the last Labour government took radical action with the smoking ban in 2007, a defining public health achievement. And it is why, from opposition, we welcome the Khan review and we proposed the generational smoking ban a full 10 months before the Prime Minister made his announcement at his party conference. There is wide support for this bill from everyone in the NHS, in the wider health sector, and the general public. And the only people who seem to be fighting it tooth and nail are the tobacco companies and Conservative backbenchers. The former member for Blackpool South called it health fascism, and the former Prime Minister, whose Chief of Staff worked for Philip Morris and British American Tobacco, has called it unconservative. What is it about the tobacco industry that some Tory MPs love so much? Every year, the NHS bails out big tobacco to the tune of billions. The Prime Minister might not feel he has the strength to take on these vested interests and whip his MPs to vote against them, but he can rest assured that if they can't get it over the line, Labour will. As welcome as this bill is, the government has had 14 years to take stronger action on smoking. 4 years ago, the government said its ambition was a smoke-free Britain by 2030, yet it is currently estimated to be at least 7 years behind its smoke-free 2030 target and not on course to meet it in the poorest areas until 2044. The generational smoking ban will help us get there, but it will not help the 6 to 7 million adults who already smoke. And as many members have raised today, stop smoking services have faced savage cuts. The number of smokers who quit through stop smoking services has dropped from 400,000 a year in 2010 to around 100,000 today. So does the Minister regret not doing more to bring down smoking rates over the past 14 years? The government has belatedly committed more funding to stop smoking services now, but the uplift in funding she is offering will not take us back to the number of people setting quitting dates that we achieved in 2010. So what assurance can she offer that her measures will actually get the government on course to hit the 5% smoke-free target by 2030? And while the bill is strong on tackling the take-up of cigarettes and vapes by young people, it does little to help those who are already addicted to quit. Recently, a school in my constituency had to apologise after handing out a leaflet to a child suggesting smoking as a self-help measure Does the Minister agree with me that it is scandalous that the myth that smoking reduces stress and anxiety still persists? And does she agree with me that her bill should include a requirement to make tobacco companies include information to dispel that myth in their products? The bill also includes a range of powers to tackle the issue of youth vaping. Labour welcomes this. For years, Labour have been warning about the explosion of young people getting addicted to nicotine with products that look like teddy bears and sippy cups and come in flavours like unicorn shake. And it is why Labour voted to ban the marketing and branding of vapes to children in 2021. And once again, Labour leads and this government belatedly follows. But in the meantime, an estimated 255,000 more children aged 11 to 17 have been addicted to vapes, according to the Ashes survey data. So does the Minister regret taking so long to wake up to this issue? And according to the Trading Standards Institute, while youth vaping has soared, so has the number of illegal products flooding our market, which many members have raised today. Up to 1 in 3 vapes sold in shops are estimated to be illicit. It means children are being exposed to vapes that contain heavy metals, antifreeze, poster varnish, as well as illegal levels of nicotine, getting them hooked for life. So can the Minister explain how she expects to bring in effective new regulations on vapes when her government are barely in control of the black market now? And does she agree with me that there needs to be a cross-government strategy to tackle the smuggling of potentially dangerous products into our country? And has she considered giving the MHR new powers to screen products before they actually come on the market? And can she also confirm that her bill will provide powers to tackle not just the sale, but the import of dangerous products? To conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, after 14 years of the Tories, healthy life expectancy has dropped for the first time in modern British history. Labour supports this bill, but after 14 years of failure and with the NHS in crisis, we regret that it marks the last desperate attempt of this government to rescue a legacy on public health. And for 14 years, the government has played politics with public health, putting off prevention measures, knowing that taxpayers tomorrow will pay the price. But the country is paying for this now. Labour will always put public health first, prioritise prevention to ease pressure on the NHS, improve access to smoking cessation services and take on the tobacco and vape companies profiting off people's health. Thank you.
Minister, Dame Andrea Ladson.